Hey everybody, welcome back to the farm. If you're new here, welcome. My name is Lisa and this is Yogi Hollow Farm. And today I want to talk to you about cold stress in your animals. And why do I think this is relevant? Well, a lot of the country that doesn't deal with cold weather like we do on a regular basis is dealing with some unprecedented temperatures this winter, right? It's been absolutely crazy, and I'm looking at the forecast and I'm seeing more. So come on along, let's talk a little bit about what cold stress is. We're also going to talk about ways that you can prevent it. We live in the southern Black Hills of South Dakota, and we've had to deal with some really brutal cold temperatures this winter. December, we had, I think, negative 47 degree with wind chill, and we're going to talk about wind chill also. So what is cold stress? Cold stress is defined as the lower critical temp, and the lower critical temp is the temp below which a resting animal must increase its metabolic rate to stay warm. Makes sense, right? So cold stress affects people too, so it's the same thing. Now, the actual air temp when lower critical temp occurs varies depending in large part on the amount of insulation the animal has. Makes sense, right? A chicken is going to have less insulation than a cow or a pig, right? Wind chill applies to people and animals. A lot of people don't realize this. Wind chill does apply to animals. So it does matter. It's very important. And that's why we often talk about what the temp is in reality and then what the wind chill is, because the wind chill is very important. And why does wind chill matter? Well, when the wind chill keeps on decreasing, the animal's amount of energy is going to increase, right? Because they need to stay warm. And my rooster is over there trying to get in on this. Another thing to be aware of is the thermal neutral zone. The thermal neutral zone is the range of temperatures in the immediate environment at which a healthy adult animal can maintain a normal body temperature without needing to use energy beyond its normal basal metabolic rate. Well, that's different for each animal. So I'm going to give you an example of what the thermal neutral zone for poultry is, and we have chickens and turkeys, and that's about 60 to 75 degrees Fahrenheit. That's where, you know, they're comfortable, everything's going great, no issues. The hotter it gets, they can develop heat stress. The colder it gets, they can develop cold stress. And that just means that the cold stress, my rooster, the cold stress means that they are burning more energy and doing all they can to stay warm. Now, when it comes to swine, it varies depending on their age, their weight, and their breed. I was looking up about cattle. I don't have any, but they said 32 Fahrenheit to 77 degrees Fahrenheit is the thermal neutral zone for cows. Let's talk about signs of cold stress in poultry. So mainly chickens and turkeys are what we have, and chickens will fluff their feathers, right? And we've all seen that. We've also seen them where they will pick up one foot near their body because they are trying to keep themselves warm. That's a mild form of cold stress. That doesn't indicate that they are declining in their overall well-being. It indicates that they are cold and they are trying to keep their body temperature up. Perching for prolonged periods is another sign of cold stress. Now, what these chickens are doing right here is perching to conserve heat. They are perching, they're taking a break, they're enjoying the sunshine. That is much different compared to a chicken or turkey that would be perching and refusing to leave the perch for food or water. That is more of a lethargic condition, and that's more concerning. Inactivity, lethargy, shivering, lack of interest in food or water, and frostbite are more severe symptoms. Let's talk about some of the signs of cold stress for pigs. So our kuni pigs are pretty tolerant of the cold temperatures, and however, they also show signs of cold stress. So some of the milder forms of cold stress are laying near a corner or a wall, tucking their legs under their body and piling on each other. That's where there are signs they're trying to keep warm. More severe signs are they're unable to get up, they have a low rectal temperature, and they're shivering. We have not seen this in our adult pigs. However, we have seen it in Norman. Norman stood out in the snow last week, and combined with the wind chill temperatures and the very cold temperatures, Norman started shivering. And part of that is because he is not a full-grown pig, and so he is more at risk of hypothermia compared to the older pigs. The older pigs have more fat on them and are able to regulate their temperature. Pigs can show signs of frostbite in their ears, or they can feel cold to the touch. So let's talk about some of the ways you can prevent this. Especially if you are not used to living in a cold climate, these things are even more important. For us, it's second nature. But you can see here, I have alfalfa hay that I put on the snow, so that way they have at least somewhere warmer to walk on, so they're not just walking on snow. Because as you know, my turkeys will not go inside unless they feel like it. They've just always been outside birds, and that's what they choose to do. And they do great no matter how cold the temperatures have been. Dry and extra bedding is so important. If they don't have dry and extra bedding, your animals are not going to do well. For the pigs, we give an increase in feed. We feed multiple times a day. We also feed, for all of the animals, more nutrient-dense foods. And what do I mean by that? Oatmeal, fruits and vegetables, as we are able to, because those are real important. In addition, feeding a good, solid diet that is nutritious and meets all of their nutritional needs is super important. They all need access to fresh, clean water, and they all need draft-free, dry housing. And so even though our pig doors are open, they do not face directions that the wind usually blows, but they also have an ability to get into the corner and get out of the wind, or they build up their nests to keep themselves out of the wind. One of the other things we do is we feed corn. Now, corn is not a nutrient-dense food. However, corn helps to increase their internal heat. We also feed higher protein, usually in the winter, for our chickens. Our turkeys seem to do well on their protein ration that they get all year. And the pigs seem to do well on their protein ration. So the chickens, though, get up to over 20%, whereas normally they would be 16% in the summer because they don't need all of that protein. Metabolically, they don't need it. They don't need all that protein in warmer weather. I forgot to mention frost on your animals' backs. So during extreme cold, you're going to see frost on your animals' backs. And don't freak out. Chickens develop frost on their backs because they often tuck under their wing. So when they tuck under their wing, they're breathing, they develop frost on their backs. They can also develop frost on their backs because it's proving that they are staying warm. The same thing with our turkeys and our pigs. They get frost on their backs, and that is a good sign because it shows that they are insulated and they are keeping themselves warm. So keep that in mind. So cold stress also can lead to health issues. Cold stress can be fatal. That's something to realize as well. Frostbite can get infected. So the best thing is prevention, prevention, prevention. So, you know, these are some things that have worked for us really well. We stay on top of it all winter long because that's what's necessary to keep everybody healthy. If you've watched our previous videos, and I'll put a link at the end of this, when we survived the Arctic blast, we're feeding constantly the pigs. I think it was about 4 times a day they were getting fed. And then as soon as it got warmer, even the pigs didn't run for the food as much as they did as when it was so cold, because their bodies metabolism just doesn't need it. So I hope you guys found this helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. If you've struggled with any cold stress in animals, let me know down below. I really want to hear from you guys. So take good care, everybody. Stay warm.